Today, Triumph announced the full details of their brand new Speed 1200RR, and it looks pretty incredible. Not only does it enhance the spec of their already epic Speed RRS, but it does it with a new tweaked aesthetic that, in my opinion, after having seen it in the flesh last week, looks absolutely stunning. So in this video, we'll speak to Triumph's chief engineer Stuart Wood to find out the 7 big things you need to know about this incredible looking new bike, including all the upgrades and the all-important price. Now, the RR is already based on their most powerful bike to date, the 2021 Speed 1200RS. They added about 30 horsepower to this generation by bumping up the capacity. That's a huge increase and puts it right up there with the KTM 1290 Super Duke and Aprilia's Tuono V4. Pair that with some impressive weight loss, top spec equipment like the Öhlins suspension and Brembo braking system, a comprehensive suite of advanced electronics, and it was already their highest performing machine by a long stretch. There's a link in the description to my full review if you haven't seen it. So the RR takes that already aggressive platform and pushes it still further with improved suspension and a more sporty look and riding position. And so to start, I wanted to know, was there really anyone asking for more performance? Most of the bikes you launch are really founded in surveys and customer feedback and data. Is it the same with this, or is it a bit more of a passion project?
There's a bit of both, really. Yeah, a bit of both. We always do the market research because we want to talk to our customers. We want to know what people want. And with the Speed RRR, what we found was that the modern crop of sports bikes are really relevant for the track, but some people find they're possibly a bit too focused for fast road riding. Okay, they want the performance, but they don't necessarily want all of that track focus. So we started off developing a bike for the road first. It has track performance, it has excellent track performance, but it is for the road and for allowing you to utilize all of that performance.
And it does seem to fall a little bit between the sort of traditional established genres that we stick to. Is it in a new market segment, I guess?
Well, really, we see it as being attractive to, as I said, sports bike riders who maybe think that the current crop are too focused for the road, but also speed triple riders who want more performance in terms of the ergonomics, the wind protection, and basically fast road riding.
Now, the major bump in spec for this new bike is the electronically adjustable suspension. It's a similar setup to the RS with an Öhlins 43mm upside down fork and a similar Öhlins monoshock at the rear, but with their smart EC2 system, you can make changes from the switchgear.
When you select a riding mode, it pre-selects an appropriate suspension setup.
Right.
So you can change that on the fly while you're riding. For the road conditions, as they change, maybe you're traveling somewhere and you get to a twisty bit of mountain road and you want to get a little more sporty with the setup, you can do that while you're riding.
Now, this system is also semi-active, meaning that it responds to the road conditions and your riding style to make quick adjustments in real time.
So you get braking assist, acceleration assist and corner assist. So that's on top of the suspension settings. So that adjusts the damping both ends in real time as you're riding. So while you're braking, transitioning into the corner, accelerating out to the corner, it's changing continuously. And it's a it's a very sophisticated system that allows us to set up the suspension to be everything that you need it to be.
So it ought to make for a better handling bike in a wide range of conditions. But I was also interested to know if it added any comfort in a straight line. And with the sort of suspension settings versus something like the RS, is it a similar range of adjustability, or will this allow you to go kind of even softer and even firmer?
It's about the same range of adjustability, but this has been completely tuned for the RR. What it allows you to do is have base settings that then you can add more to, depending on the condition. So most of the time you're riding, you're not needing the front support that you would need when you are under braking. So you add a bit more in when you need it, and you can add a small amount or more. As I said, it's adjustable. So you can tune it very, very finely. So it really does make a very fine suspension setup.
Now, I take Stuart's point, the system will firm things up when the conditions demand it, rather than having to find a middle ground for all conditions, as is the case with regular mechanically adjustable suspension. But of course, I'll have to reserve full judgment until I can actually get my hands on one. Now, another significant update is to the ergonomics, with a revised riding position that matches the new sportier nature of this machine.
Okay, Okay, so the handlebars are 50 millimeters further forward, they're 135 millimeters lower. The foot pegs are 25.9 millimeters rearwards, 14.7 up, and slightly wider by just 5 millimeters.
The seat height remains unchanged at 830mm, which I reckon is pretty accessible, but overall, it's still gonna feel more aggressive than the RS. With regards to the riding position, you know, you've said this is primarily a bike designed for the road. So does that slightly canted forward position compromise any of that distance comfort or everyday usability?
No, I think actually it enhances it. It is a good cross-country bike. It's good for covering distance. It's good for covering it quickly. It's very comfortable, and you get that added wind protection, which allows you just to sit there and enjoy the ride.
Speaking of the wind protection, you might well have noticed that half fairing by now, and with it a new single round headlight that gives it a bit of a retro flavour.
Basically, British Automotive have got a long history of taking iconic high performance vehicles and adding even more performance, even more elegance. Okay, we wanted to do the same. You could say it's our very modern cafe racer.
I absolutely love the look of it, but it's also a surprisingly practical decision too.
Obviously, when we're adding a fairing, you are adding more components, and we wanted to mitigate any increase in mass by keeping it small, keeping it just what you needed for the performance. So overall, adding electronic suspension with its adjustment, adding the cockpit with its performance benefit to the riding position, we've only added 1 kilogram to the overall mass, which is massively overwhelmed by the fact that the bike works even better.
So part of that is reducing the bulk of the headlights at the front there and kind of keeping
Absolutely.
it. Yeah. So this new front end is stylish and relatively lightweight, but does it really give the rider any additional comfort? With regards to the fairing, it certainly does give it that modern cafe racer look. It is like a 2021 Thruxton almost. How functional though is the fairing? Does it offer much protection on the road?
Absolutely does. The ergonomics of the bike have changed a lot from the Speed Triple RS. So the whole riding position leans you forward, gets you behind that screen. Yeah. It really works.
Now the tyres also get a little bump in spec, with the Metzler Racetech RRs of the Speed Triple RS being replaced with Pirelli Diablo Supercorsa SPV3s, and their Supercorsa SC2s are also handbook approved for the track. But honestly, I think a lot of these bikes will be sold because of the looks. The finish really is another notch up from the RS. Now there's 2 paint schemes of red hopper and crystal white, but it was the red that really caught my eye. It's got a rich, deep finish to it that really catches the light, and so I reckon that'd be the one for me. Now a neat visual trick they've used is to finish the bottom part of the tank and fairing in storm grey. That gives it a very clean and straight line through the bike that really emphasizes that sort of cafe racer vibe. And then everything else from there on down, like the side panels, the subframe and the belly pan, are also blacked out to enhance the effect. And to top it all off, it still gets the carbon front mudguard, but also some more on the radiator covers, the bottom edge of the fairing and the finisher around the tank, just adding that extra little pop of bling. Now for the price. The white one starts at £17,950 with another couple of £100 for the red. That's about £2.5 grand on top of the standard RS, so a decent wedge more, but to me it looks about right. The electronic suspension should be a significant step up, and the extra quality in the finish and just the way it looks really transform it into a bit of a showpiece. But as always, I'd love to know what you think of it down in the comments below. Worth the extra, or would you just go for the RS? Let me know your pick, and if you're new here and you want to see more videos like this, hit subscribe and I'll see you in the next one.